Okay, I'm gonna be stitching my gingerbread girl and boy ornament. This is gonna be the boy, and it's this is the this is the 4x4 size, and I'm gonna do the boy, and then I'll also do the girl, and then afterwards I'll show you how I'm going to put the names with beads on both ornaments. So I've hooped cutaway stabilizer, and I'm going to use vinyl for the base of the ornament, and I'm going to use felt for the applique. And the first couple of steps are just like any other in the hoop ornament. Your first stitch is going to be the placement line for the base of the ornament, and so I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. First, I just need to just double check that everything is all lined up. This hoop does not come with this machine, so you need to just verify that everything is positioned correctly so that the needles don't hit the sides, because it causes a lot of damage to your machine. So everything is lined up. So, okay. So first stitch is going to do the placement line. I'll then cover that with the vinyl. The second stitch is the placement line for the applique. I'll cover that with felt. It'll tack it down. Then I'll cut around the tack down and run the satin stitching. Okay, so the placement line is stitched. Now I'm going to cover that with vinyl. And now I'm going to stitch the placement line for the applique. Okay, so the placement line for the applique stitched out. Now I'm going to cover that with felt and tack that down. Okay, the felt has been tacked down. Now I'm going to take my applique scissors and just trim really close to the stitch line, and then I'll run the satin stitch. Okay, because of the shape of the gingerbread, it has a lot of little corners that my scissors don't get in real well. So I'm going to just get as close as I can, and then I'll come back with nippers and really get in there, because I don't want any of this visible once the satin stitch is down. So I want to really make sure that I get in there, but I need smaller nippers. It is really nice to have a work surface right in front of my machine, so that when I'm doing stuff like this, I don't even have to lift the hoop off the surface. I can just slide it around. Okay. This is my very least favorite part of applique, but if you take your time and really make sure that you've gotten all of the excess material out, your project looks so nice. And the nice thing about applique is that you can use whatever fabric or vinyl or whatever, and it just totally changes the look of what you're doing. Almost done. Now this has a pretty thick pretty thick satin stitch, but because I'm using felt, I want to really make sure that I do a good job of cutting, because the little ends can poke through real easy, and that just, I don't know, it really looks like you've you know, not taking your time and done a good job. So I figure if I'm going to take the time to actually stitch this out, I'm going to take the time to actually trim it correctly. Okay, nope. One more. The other scissors that I really like for applique, these are they're Kai 4-inch curved tip scissors, and they're really, really, really sharp, and it's really easy to get in the little corners and stuff if you're having problems with. Now my nippers do a pretty good job, but I always keep these on hand just to make sure that I have them if I need them. Okay. Okay. That looks pretty good. Okay. See, this turned up pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to put my hoop back on the machine, and I'm going to run the satin stitching and the decorative stitch that's after that, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay, now the satin stitch has stitched out, and the decorative stitching around the satin stitch, and now I'm going to go ahead and stitch out the rest of the design, the icing details, the cheeks, eyes, and then the grommet placement is going to stitch out, and I'll come back and show you when that's done and put the back on the ornament. Okay, the rest of the design details have stitched out, and cute. Okay, so now I'm going to attach the backing, and yeah, okay. So I'm using the same vinyl that I used for the front. And like I've said a million times now, I am a pinner when it comes to putting the back on. If you prefer using tape, use tape, but it does not work well in this machine on the back. If I use felt on the back, sometimes I can get away with just slipping it underneath the hoop. But I found that vinyl kind of sticks sometimes if I do that. Okay, there we go. So, see, backing is pinned on. I'm gonna put it back on the machine and stitch the final bean stitch. Okay. Feel around on there, make sure everything is good. Okay. Okay, first thing you want to do is double check that your back is on correctly, and see, it isn't. This is a prime example of why you have to double check these things. So before I exit out of the design, I'm going to remove this and I'm going to restitch it because it caught the end of it. Okay, so that wasn't fun, but I managed to salvage my project. So, okay, so what happened was I did not secure all four sides. I only secured two, and when I put the hoop back on the machine, the backing vinyl on the corner that I did not secure down flipped down, and so that's how it's stitched. So normally, that isn't a problem. That doesn't happen. But I also didn't secure all four sides like I should have. So I just unpicked the vinyl on the back and very carefully removed all the stitching, and I can still see the stitch holes, but I'm going to see that anyways when I resew the backing back on anyways. So, you know, I mean, it's going to go in the same spot. So let's try that again. Now let's attach the backing. And I am going to use the same piece of vinyl that I used originally because I didn't put a hole in it or anything like that when I was removing the stitches, which is good. Now I'm going to pin all four corners. And try that again. You know, be very careful to stay out of the stitch line so that your needle does not hit the machine. Sorry, so that your needle does not hit the needle. My pin just broke, so I'm going to remove that real quick. Okay, I've got my backing pinned on now, and I'm going to put it back on the machine and try to re-stitch this. Just making sure that everything is all flat. It is. Okay. And we'll give this a go again. Okay, everything feels good. Okay. So that was a prime example of why you should not unhook before you double check to make sure everything is okay. Because I was able to salvage this, whereas if I would have already unhooked it, it would have been in the garbage. Okay, moment of truth. Did I do it? And I did. Everything's fine. Okay, so the next step is to unhoop and cut around the your ornament, and then I will come back and install the grommet and show you how I'm going to finish this off. Okay, I've got the boy gingerbread and the girl gingerbread both stitched out. They turned out super cute. I've already finished off what I was going to do with the how I'm gonna finish it with the boy one, obviously, adding the knit necklace, a button on the chest, and then just a really simple hanger. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing with the girl one, but I'll do it on camera so you can see how I finish it off. So first things first, installing the eyelet. I'm gonna take my crocodile, punch my eyelet hole. And install the eyelet just like that. I like the two-piece ones because I think it has a nicer finish on the back of them. They're a little harder to clamp down than the perforated ones, but in the end I like it better. Okay, one thing I forgot. Okay, this little stabby thing, I don't know if you can see it, is what I'm going to use to make the hole for the necklace. I think this is called a stiletto. I know that they come with the cam snaps, and I've had various ones. I've never bought one separately. It's always come with something. So, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to stab a hole right here and right here, kind of where the necklace where you'd want to hang. Obviously you don't have to do this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the ornament without it. Okay, so I line it up, and then they're super sharp. You just kind of poke it through. And I twist it a little bit and kind of really make sure. Vinyl has a tendency to try to be self-healing, so as soon as you stick something through it, it wants to close back up again, and you just need a little itsy bitsy tiny hole. And be very careful not to stab yourself. I've stabbed myself multiple times, and it hurts. Okay, so you can see there's a little itsy bitsy tiny hole there, and a little itsy bitsy tiny hole there. And that's where the ends of the necklace are going to go. You can see this one, I just really tied it in the back. It's very, very simple. The holes on these beads are not very big, so I struggled with finding a needle that my hands could handle. I don't do well with gripping little itsy bitsy tiny things because I have carpal tunnel. My hands tend to lock up on me, and so I don't do real well with little itsy bitsy tiny things. So I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do this, but I found a really easy way of doing it. I got these really cool neat bead threaders, and they're really thin. Actually, I think I'm going to use a bigger one. But they take the place of a needle, and they work real well. So cut your thread longer than what you're going to need. I do better with a larger amount than a smaller amount with my clumsy hands. And then these needle threaders, or not needle threaders, sorry, bead threaders. These are they're two itsy bitsy tiny thin strands of metal. Hopefully I'm holding this so you can see it. And you slip your thread in between them, just like that. Okay, and then you load your beads onto the metal part. Okay, so I'm spelling out Lila, which is my granddaughter's name. Lyla. Oh, I wanted to put a bead in between. L-Y. Another spacer bead. L. Spacer bead. A. Okay. So see how I've loaded them up on the little metal thing, and then they just slip onto the thread from there. You just pull it through. Really, really, really simple. So from there, you take the end of your little bead threader, poke it into that little hole that you just created, and use it almost like a needle and just kind of pull the end through. Really simple. Okay. Make sure your end is long enough so that you don't pull the beads out when you're doing the other end. Okay, and then you just slip your thread through to get it out of here. Okay, and slip into the other end. Just like that. And then again, use this like a needle. Hold your thread so it doesn't go through, and put it right through the hole that you created with the stiletto. Which, like I said, is easier said than done. There we go. And then pull it through. Okay, and now it's real simple to see what it's going to look like as a little necklace. So you take the threader off your thread. There we go. Okay. Now holding both ends, you can kind of see how you want it to hang. Like I want it to hang like a necklace. Like that. Okay. And then put it down on the surface. And then you just take your ends. And I think I did 3 overhand knots. And again, it's easier if you don't have big, clumsy hands like me. Okay, there's 3 knots. And you can see how it's going to hang there. Okay, so then once your knot is tied and everything is the way you want it, just clip your ends. And there you go. All done. Okay, now the other thing I'm adding is a button. And what I did with the button, can you see that? You certainly don't have to do this. I just think it looks more like it's sewed on, even though you're cheating and not sewing it on. I just took a needle and thread and just wrapped it around the inside of the button, the little buttonholes, and then just tied it off. And I'm just gonna hot glue it onto here. So I'm just gonna take my little handy dandy hot glue. You don't need much. And then put it exactly where I want it. Yeah, like that. Okay, and then for the hanger, again, real simple. I have about 10 inches of twine in half. Go through the eyelet like this. Pull your ends through. Okay, and then with your two little ends like that are hanging here, I like to put a little piece of painter's tape and make a kind of a needle out of it. So you just kind of fold the little ends up. And then twist them together. And this will help you put the beads on. Usually the holes are big enough where you can actually stuff both ends of the string in. Sometimes there's little pieces of wood on the inside of these, and this just is really, really simple. Okay, so then you got your end on, and I want them about the same length. So I'm gonna want my knot to be about here, and you just make a little circle. Take your little end with the tape, put it through, pull tight, and then snip off your end. And there you're done. Okay, so there is going to be, this is the 4x4 version. There's going to be a 5x7 version as well. And I'm also going to do banner pieces like this, exactly like this, so that, because I think it'd be really cute to put, like what I'm going to do with the banner pieces is put them on my fireplace with my grandchildren's names on them. And I've got 4 grandkids. I think I might have room to add my kids and, well, my daughter-in-law and my son-in-law are, I consider them my kids too. So I think I might have room to put all of their names up there. But I'm going to start with the grandkids and see where we go from there. So there you go. Hope you like them. Hi everyone. I just wanted to show you the difference between the 5x7 gingerbread ornament and the 4x4 gingerbread ornament. You can see there's quite a big size difference. Both are going to be included in the set. The 4x4 boy and girl and the 5x7 boy and girl are both included. So I've already finished off the girl one, and I will show you again with the boy one what I did. Again, here's the 4x4 along with the 5x7. Okay, I've already attached my grommet. So with the 5x7, because it's a little bit bigger, there's a little bit more room to punch a hole. So I'm going to go ahead and use my leather punch on its smallest diameter setting, and I'm going to punch right in between the shoulder and the head of the ornament on both sides and make 2 little holes. You can do it with an awl. This might be just a little bit easier on the bigger one, just because there's more room. Okay, you see that? A hole there and a hole there. Okay, now I'm going to take a piece of thread, bigger than what I need, because I have clumsy hands. And I'm going to use a beading needle threader. And it's just this really fine piece of wire, and you put your thread through it, and then you line your beads up on it. Let me just get the stuff out of the way. And I'm using spacer beads in addition to my letter beads, just because I like the way it looks. Okay, so the easiest way that I found to do this is to come up from the back, just like you're sewing. Okay, make sure you're leaving enough of a tail with the thread. Okay, and then put your beads on your beading needle. So I'm spelling out Michael, so it's M, and then I got my little spacer thingies. I, C, H, A, spacer, E, spacer, L. And I'm just going to close this little container because I know me and I'll bump it. Okay, once your beads are on your threader, then you just pull the threader through and take the end of it and go through the other hole that you made in your gingerbread. Just like that, thread it through. Okay, so now you've created a necklace. See that? Okay, and then flip it over. And then you want to tie a double overhand knot. And this is where my hands usually cramp up, so I'm just going to make sure that this is exactly how I want it, and then tie my overhand knots. If you need to use a piece of tape to hold it down, or yell for your husband, mine is not home, otherwise I would have him help me, and just do your best to tie 2 overhand knots, at least 2 overhand knots. And there you go. Once your knot is done, just verify that it's the way you wanted it. There we go. And then I'm just going to cut my edges extra. Okay, and there's the name on there. I didn't want to hang down real low because it's a boy name and I wanted it to be up a little bit higher so it looks a little bit more masculine. Okay, and then I've added a button to my girl one, so I want to add it to my boy one. And I'm just taking a regular button, and instead of using thread to sew it on, I'm going to hot glue it on. But a trick to, if you want to make it look like it actually is sewn on, is to take a Sharpie and just create your thread line in there before you glue it on. And that's what that looks like. Okay, so then I'm just going to take my hot glue, put it on the back of my button, and put it on my gingerbread. And it holds instantly. It's really quick. Okay, and then as for the hanger, I'm going to take a piece of jute Again, longer than what I need because it's easier to work with extra than it is not enough. Okay, and then half it. Working front to back, you want to put it through the grommet, then reach around and grab the end. Okay, so it's on there securely. And then you're left with these two little ends on. Okay, I'm going to put a piece of painter's tape around them. And kind of create a needle out of them. Just like that. And then I'm going to thread my beads through. Once that's done the way I want it, then I'm going to go about this length, so then I just create another overhand knot, just like that. Hold it in place and pull as hard as you can, and then just snip off the end, like so. And there's your hanger. Now they're both done. Very cute, very easy. Hope you like it.